Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, switching to my radio voice. And today I have with me Hernando Gallegos, COO and founder at Ion, Insight Onsite Now, and Jim West, regional account manager at Ion, Insight Onsite Now. How's that for a mouthful? So first of all, thank you both for joining me. How's it going today?
Hi, Tony.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So Jim and I met. It's gonna be a month and a half ago now at InsurTech Tampa. If I'm not mistaken, you guys are both Tampa St. Pete area, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Jim's up north Tampa area, northwest, and I'm down by Clearwater area.
Perfect. So normally I break the ice a little bit over the weather, which in July, we're recording July 15th. I'm sure if I'm hot here in Atlanta, Georgia for the last like 5 weeks, I've just been dying. I'm sure Florida is just an oven right now or a sauna. But you guys are okay with the tornado? Did that kind of skip Florida? The hurricane, the one that just went by.
Yeah,
That was
we
Texas.
got a little bit of rain, but we always need the rain, Tony.
All right. So this particular one didn't hit you guys. That's good. All right. So we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Ion Insight Onsite Now?
Jim, I'm
Yeah,
gonna let
so
you take that
Hernando,
one.
if you don't mind, I'm going to run with this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, Tony, thanks for asking, man. So, I get asked this a lot. What is Ion Insight On-Site Now? And in a nutshell, it is a guided inspection application that's available on any smart device. And I think it's important to talk about where it came from, how it was imagined and then created to fully understand what it is. So let's go back a couple of years, and hurricanes Ian had just hit Florida, and our sister company, CCMS and Associates, which is an independent adjusting firm, full service TPA company, they noticed, along with the same pain points that every carrier has felt, and that is when a cat hits, you have limited resources to act. And so what you get is, and I'm being a little bit facetious and hopefully it comes across as comical, but you get these guys who were bagging groceries last week and all of a sudden they're a field adjuster. And so we found the need to create this guided inspection software that embeds the carrier's inspection guidelines into the application. So, and we've sort of gamified it a little bit to where the adjuster has to achieve that green mark, or basically complete each task throughout the workflow process. And this is created by the carriers to basically spell out the workflow for them. So what's happening is they're in the app. It tells them, like, let's go to the roof. Let's take pictures and assess damage on this slope. Let's move to the next slope. Let's move to the next slope, and so on and so forth throughout the property. But as it's doing that, it is labeling the photos based on where you are throughout the process. It is building certain outputs for you, but behind the scenes, specifically a general loss report, your scope, your photo sheets, labeled, and then also collecting all the raw JPEGs. And probably the biggest advantage here, Tony, is that it's happening within the app, so that as soon as in a CAD environment, oftentimes, the cell towers are down, but this will, as soon as it has a signal, push all of that data through. And so that's the elevator pitch, Tony. There's a lot more ingredients in the sausage, if you will.
All right. Okay, so guided inspection app, any smartphone. The the limited resources during a cat, you definitely speak the truth there. I did claims 2 years. The rest of my career, I was mostly underwriting and field sales management or marketing rep. But I did do 10 days of cat duty in Dublin, Missouri, after the largest tornado to have hit the states up to that point. I was an inside adjuster at Nationwide, and basically they put out a call saying we need some inside adjusters to go in the field. So I did 10 days, and it really was kind of life changing. Not only did I finally really understand the value of our industry, but what you're saying is absolutely right. I definitely ran into lots of adjusters, some old old C
Old salts, right?
yeah, have done this for 30 years, and like maybe ready to teach the rest of us, maybe not, but lots of experience. And then definitely the ones that are brand new to the industry, that come in during cat season with very little guidance, and at that time, basically, like, and this wasn't the 1970s, this was 2011, I believe. Yeah, 11 sounds about right. And basically, like, I didn't even have a company laptop because I was an inside adjuster. I was armed with like pen and paper, like a pad, and like printouts from the mobile office kind of thing. And I'm sure that they were similar. So yes, the need for this definitely makes sense to me.
So Tony, let me add to what Jim was saying, if you don't mind. It was the entire platform was built by adjusters for adjusters. We've been in business 10 years, and one of the most prolific things that we've learned is that there is usually a backup in the field, obviously in a large claim event, not just cat, but all large claim events. If you get 1 or 2,000 claims dropped on you for a variety of reasons, maybe someone goes out of business, or someone is taking on a new client, or there is a storm, or what have you, we're able to pick up, certify these adjusters with our learning management system, get them badged as ION proficient professional adjusters, and they go out there and they utilize the application on their smartphone or their tablet. During the development of the software, we took a 6-month adjuster and a 6-year adjuster, and they were both doing ION, and they did multiple claims with ION. I think about 15 to 20 each. And what we found was pretty interesting. They were both around the same age, because there's different levels of understanding. There's digital natives and digital hybrids. Like old guy like myself, I'm a digital hybrid. But the young guys are digital natives like yourself. You guys grew up with this stuff. You guys grew up with a tablet in your hand, right? We didn't. But so we got these guys, they're about the same age, and they went out there and they were performing claims. What we found was the output was almost identical from both adjusters. The information that we were receiving, they were different claims, but the information we were receiving, the label photographs, the reports, the scope sheets, there's a lot of stuff that comes out of this that a junior adjuster will go out in the field, be helped by the app. It guides you to a certain point, and the more seasoned adjusters can utilize this information and turn these claims around faster. It gives them what they're looking for, and they might not realize it right away, and they might say, "Well, it's not the way I do it." Well, there's always a reason for a change, right? And a lot of people have a fear for change, or is it a fear of a fear, right? Are you scared of are you just scared just to be scared? Or are you scared because something's new? So we have to, education always helps. Well, education is really the key, because once they know, and they do 1, 2, and next thing you know, they're like a duck to water, and they're able to get these claims knocked out. Initially, at first, it's like anything new. You put new boots on, Tony, how long does it take you to wear them in a little bit, right? This isn't exactly boots. There may be, comfy shoes, but it takes a little bit to get acclimated with the application. But a couple of claims, and like I said, it was built by adjusters for adjusters, so it's not just an application. When somebody comes on board with us with ION, they have an entire team behind them. We have 3 proficient programmers on site. We have our development team on site that you can pick up a phone and talk to somebody right here in Florida. And if we have a need for a greater amount of professionals to help out, programmers, if we get 2 or 3 on board, we've got an entire team behind us. We've got a strong SOC 2 background for our server, and our front end is secure as well. So everything we've done, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, it's not for a lack of knowledge on what we're doing. I grew up in electronics. I had an IT company. I worked in technical operations my entire life. So that's what I do. I do change management, and that's the biggest thing with a lot of these companies, that they want to change, but it's like the guy that he wants to work out and he wants to get better, but he knows it's a big hill to climb because he's got, so equate it to that. So now you got the director or the C-suite or whoever's in charge making the decision saying, man, that's a big hill to climb because now I got to change everything. Not if you do it right with change management. You're going to have to make a change. And if you take it in small bites, Tony, you ever eat a giant steak like this? Probably not. That's too much, right? Right. But that's how you do it, right? You eat it a little bit at a time, just like the proverbial eating the elephant. You start at the toes and you just keep going.
I love that example of the 6-month adjuster and the 6-year adjuster, and the output coming out equally high quality. That by itself is fantastic. At the beginning, you mentioned that the carrier gets to create that guide.
Oh, absolutely. So it's a totally customized application. So what we do when we approach a client, we look at their guidelines, right? We look at policies, and we make a determination on what exactly needed. We take their letterheads. What do they want to see? Do they want to see the roof in the first section? They want to see the roof in the third section? We can set it up that way so whenever they get the reports back, it keeps coming back continuously the same way. So you're getting a cadence. And not just that, but you can take this information and you can plug it into an AI and start developing that way with the information that you take. It's the human hybrid part, right? We have the human out there collecting the information with the electronic piece. It makes everything nice and neat and packaged. And then when it comes inside, you can either have a team inside doing an estimate, or the adjuster who did the ION inspection does the estimate. And either way, you're getting high quality information. You're getting high quality data rather than data that may be a week old, or you might have forgot, or it might be stuck on a notepad or a sticky note somewhere that you don't remember. Everything's right there. And a really cool thing about the application is you talk into it, and it builds your report for you. It does an auto narrative report. So when you're out there and you're in the kitchen, you're saying, the upper cabinets are damaged. I got 45, I got a 45 angle wall. It also labels photos, Tony. It gives you a scope sheet of exactly what's wrong. If you have 30 square foot of roofing that needs replaced, it's going to say 30 square foot because that's what you said in your report. So it's going to break it out for you. And if you go back to your desk, you have this information, you could build an estimate like you were there.
That sounds amazing. Is it only available to the carrier, or can an independent adjuster buy into it to use it for all the carriers they work with?
That's a great question, and that we really want to help the independent adjuster, and that's by integrating with partners. So these partners that have claim management systems, we're integrating with them right now. We're in the process of integrating with them. We're working with their contracts and negotiating the terms and what have you. Once we get that past that point, we're integrating with these main systems. So an independent adjuster can go ahead and say, hey, I'll take the general form, right? But when a carrier does it, we build it, we customize it for the carrier so they get the form back the way they want it. And if the field adjuster's in the field and he's got any questions or anything, and then, a lot of these tech companies like call 1-800 and you're going to get somebody maybe, within the hour. No, we pick up right away. You have a team behind us. Not only do you have a tech team, but you have a claim professionals behind you. So if you're like, hey, I've got a question on this roof, boom, we can patch you right over to someone that knows the roofing systems and saying, hey, yeah, that's great. You can put this in a report because I just verified whatever you needed to know. Or if it's a technical question, hey, my app is doing X. Oh, hey, just double tap on the screen and it gets the video back or what have you. So it's relatively bulletproof. We haven't had any issues in the field. You can operate this without Wi-Fi and collect all your information and data in a scenario like in the middle of Texas. There's no Wi-Fi. You download your information before you go out. You go out there, you do your inspection on your mobile device. You come back, you come back to where there is Wi-Fi and you upload from there. But it retains all that information, so you can do it
Hey,
in any type.
Tony, you bring up a good point though, because we're always trying to keep our fingers on the pulse, and what we see in the market is you need to have the flexibility with the product, and Ion certainly does, where you can address not only staff adjusters, but also, to your point, IA firms. But in addition, we're also looking at partnering with contractors. Oftentimes, as you know, water mitigation contractors are the first people on site after FNOL. And then, I think we're starting to see a pretty good push towards putting it in the hands of the insureds themselves. And Hernando said this earlier, a large population now in general in America is somewhat comfortable with tech. And, products like Ion are simply, point and click really at this point. It's not like it was 15 years ago. So, yeah. So to your point, I think we're never going to get away from having quality professional adjusters,
Exactly.
but having these tools like an Ion, I think that it provides more flexibility in how a carrier addresses different complexities and claims, and gives them an opportunity to create different success paths to claim settlement.
What is the implementation like? So what I mean by that is, do I need to already be on Guidewire Claim Center or on Duck Creek or some sort of modern claim system, or
That's a great question. That's a great question. You don't have to be on any claim system. You can run this by itself. It has its own dashboard, so you get your own analytics. So let's just say a roofing company decides to use Ion to monitor their roof tarping. We developed an entire roof tarping segment for Ion. They don't have to have a claim system, right? They have to have the Ion dashboard. You can run it independently. So you can run everything out of there. It tells you what's going on, who you dispatched to, how long ago, when to expect it back. And it keeps track of everything for you. So you don't have to be on Duck Creek. You don't have to be on BCA. You don't have to be on ZAC. You don't have to have any of those attributes. You can be a roofing company that doesn't have that aspect, works within insurance, and maybe doesn't have to use the ZAC aspect of things.
With that said, though, Tony, we are in we have strategic partnerships with those companies that you've talked about. So those estimating platforms and things of that nature, we're in the process of integration. So for those carriers that have that specific need, and a lot of times those, we'll say estimating platforms instead of getting into names. A lot of times they are really communication centers too, right? I mean, they're pushing data back into the
Air traffic control
management systems, right? Air traffic control, back to those policy admin systems and things of that nature. So we've made it a point to strategically partner with them, and that way we can provide a broader experience to our clients.
Perfect. You mentioned that it is somewhat gamified from the perspective of the adjuster. What does that look like, and what kind of results have you seen because of that gamification?
Yeah, I wish, and I'm going to let Hernando answer this, but I wish it was a little cooler. but really at this point, it's more like you didn't do the task, you have a red stop sign. You did do the task, you're getting the green thumbs up, right? So
Ding, ding, ding. And our lead programmer, Alex, he's that's his education, his simulation and gaming programming. So his love is are games. And he really wanted to take this product and really make it something that was entertaining for, for adjusters. And it's tough being entertaining for somebody that's the professional. You're there to collect the data and you're there to do an inspection. So the gamification
flames aren't that
really is just
sexy.
lights just say, hey, nice job, thumbs up, you're doing great, keep going. So it's really about just acknowledging that they're completed a section and move on to the next one.
Okay,
But hopefully in the future, maybe there's something else. Maybe we can have coins or something that pops up, and then I don't know. I'm open for ideas. You got any, Tony?
Okay, maybe. So some level of like immediate QA, basically not letting me not do it correctly, and avoiding that back and forth of something that didn't get done, which is annoying for everybody involved.
You're right there. You're right there. Once the adjuster goes out, he's got to check off each section, and you can do the sections in whichever line you want to make them. You can do the inside first. You can do the outside first. You can do the outbuildings. Whatever you want to do, you can go to that section first, as long as you get them all checked off, right? So sometimes you want to get inside first because you don't want to be on the roof sweating and then coming in and sweating all over the insurance house. You want to go inside first, and that's fine. It starts off in the exterior, but you don't have to.
What is the pricing like?
Good question.
How is it structured?
Great question. And I hate to say this, but it depends, because there's different attributes. So okay, let's go back to the roofing company. We can send them a link. The roofer will open the link, do his mini report, take his mini photographs before tarping, send it in. That's one way to do things. Or another thing is you can have a general report, sell it to independent adjusters, have the independent adjusters pick it up and do a general report. It's not customized anything. A carrier will have a customized form with more attributes to it. So we can either do it on a per month basis, or we can do it on a larger basis for larger teams. There's a lot of flexibility.
Tony, I was going to mention.
It depends.
Yeah, I was going to mention, like, we do have two pricing models, one's subscription and then one's transactional. And then obviously pricing gets affected by volume, right? So, I'd be happy to have that conversation, but wouldn't want to get pinned down on a number.
No problem.
Yeah. And we're focusing on the entities, not so much the independents at this time. We really have not focused on the independents. It's really about once we get integrated, that's when we focus on the independents and open it up to them. And that's going to be our avenue to do it. That's the key to us getting into the independents. But right now we're really focusing on the larger entities, the regional carriers, the super regionals, and the restoration companies, as well as roofing companies.
It sounds like it's flexible enough that it makes sense both for larger carriers and for like Florida carriers, right? Like
it's completely customizable. I mean, we even have home inspection. We have a home inspection form that's someone that's a home inspector from NACHI that they would use a form like this. So we can do that. We can do a form that, we use it right now for FNOL collection. We have a call center that they use an ION form that when there's a call in, they take the information on the web form. And once they're done with the call, that form goes immediately into FNOL box. Says, hey, here's all the information. Here's everything you need that was collected right now. So that's how we operate with ION in that FNOL process. So there's multiple different avenues you can use it to. It's really up to the imagination of the person who wants to take on change management and better their organization.
Perfect. So the website, 70% faster claim decisions. That is fantastic. What else are you hearing?
Picture this. Ian was a large flood event right? If the carrier knew, if you have ABC carrier that had the largest exposure in an area where Ian hit immediately, he would have known within a day or two that the majority of claims were flood. Now pan that out day 3 and 4. Now you definitely know you have this many more than flood. Using Ion, you get that information immediately because it tells you right away what your claims are. Are they flood? Is it wind peril? What is it? So our dashboard says, hey, boom, you're getting 40% more flood than you are wind. That would be a call to our carrier, right? Hey, listen, this is what we're finding so far. We have X amount of claims closed. This is our findings. Not even closed, reported, right? That we
And
went out there and inspected.
Tony, if I was managing a cat and I had that kind of information in the turnaround times that we're talking about, minutes as opposed to weeks to get that data back, the way that you manage that cat, it could be totally different, because if you realize that you're not going to pierce your bond with your reinsurers, then you may make a decision to handle this all in-house and apply different tools and methodology to the claims handling. But if you know that this is a full-blown huge cat event that you're on the hook for, and you're going to pierce that bond and your reinsurers are involved now, it's likely going to change the way that you approach that storm, and the claims handling and the user experience for your insureds as well. And that 70% that you saw, those were taken after Ian and Nicole, and we were contrasting with data that was provided from Verisk from the industry compared to our experience.
Fantastic. And we've only talked about claims, but it does look like you are involved on the underwriting side, inspections for underwriting. What does that side look like?
It'd be like any other vertical. It's really about what the carrier needs for underwriting, and we customize it for them. We have a couple of underwriting forms right now. That it's really about, what are you looking for? What do you need? Are we talking residential? Are you talking commercial? Are we talking farm? What is it? We can customize for that carrier exactly what they need. So if they need an underwriting form, we're 80, 90% there.
Yeah, similar approach, Tony, right? You check the boxes, you make sure you're collecting all the data. Two advantages I would say to using a product like Ion is, one, if it's on the claim side, you already have somebody on the property, and if you build those questions in that they cannot ignore, you can collect that underwriting data while you're in the field. And the other side of it is, anytime something is claims related, the carrier is paying 4x for that, where it's a fact, right? I mean, it's the same data that you're getting on underwriting, but you need it now, so it's a premium. Well, Ion doesn't price our product that way. You know, it's priced by the users, whether it's transactional or subscription. And, you know, so there's an advantage there to getting away from some of the legacy data providers out there.
It's one of those things. Oh, sorry, Tony. It's one of those things that makes us different, right? Big ships turn slow. You have these behemoths that have the technology platform. They've been doing it for decades, and you pick up the phone and you got to wait, and then you get somebody who's going to transfer you to somebody else, who's going to transfer you to somebody else. Small ships turn quick. When I say we're nimble, we're not small, we're nimble. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. How did you realize that this was a need and that you were the right people to build it?
Let me tell you what happened. So I grew up in tech. I had a tech company. I did IT services. I worked for Verizon Communications. I worked in technical operations for Delta Airlines. I've done damage assessment all my life. Been with data all my life, and what really got this going was that there has to be a better way of doing things. There's always a better way of doing things. You don't have to scrap what you're doing, you know, to make a change. And we talked about this earlier, Jim. It's just a shift, right? A 1 degree shift. What's that 1 degree shift to make things just a little bit more efficient? And that's just adding a tool. We had, I think it was in development during Ian. And we actually brought it out during Nicole. But before that, I want to say it was Irma or Adalia. We had several adjusters get hurt. Right? They got hurt and they weren't able to turn their work in. Right? One had something happen to his truck. Whatever it is, something happens. Right? You're dealing with a bunch of people, a bunch of humans. They're all deployed. They're not at home. I mean, stuff happens. And one gentleman had more files in his pocket than we were comfortable with. So from that vantage point, we needed to get our information in quicker, as everybody else does. Our CEO, she's got 30 plus years in the insurance claims vertical. She's been doing this since her professional life has always been this. So she's seen it from the very beginning. She was cutting her teeth in the field, and she goes, "This is a slowdown. Here's the things that we need to look at to change." So it got birthed by not getting our things in the way they should be because of stuff happening. Now, it doesn't mean that an adjuster is not going to hurt himself, God forbid. It really means that when he's done with an inspection, it gets uploaded. He goes to his next inspection, gets uploaded. Something happens in between that, then, the insured's not out. The adjuster's not going to be concerned about all the work. He's stressed out about all the work he's got in his pocket. I mean, you're able to go ahead and just move that information and move that work and keep the claims going and take care of the insureds and make sure that you're within your service level agreements for your client. And also, you're also taking the burden off the independent adjuster. We did
Tony,
find
before you fire off that next question, I just wanted to comment on what Hernando's saying. So the data that was provided post Ian, so that you're talking a Cat 5 storm in a populated area, right? So a big event. The turnaround times it during or post storm was averaging 17 days. So that's date of notice of loss to date of completed inspection. So what Hernando's talking about, by us generating the reports as the inspector is going through the motions and checking their green boxes off, we were able to complete that inspection and deliver it within 5 days against an industry average of 17 days.
That's a huge difference in every possible way for the carrier.
Particularly in
Tony.
states like Florida and Louisiana that have some regulatory issues around time.
So Tony, Jim and I are baseball guys. Jim actually pitched in college, and one of the things about baseball is, and this is from an old coach, an old pitching coach. He was a former Yankee, former White Sox, but his premise is the way you start the pitch is the way you start the pitch. If you start the pitch the same way every single time, it's going to end the same way, the way you want it. So if it's all about how you start the process. If you start the process on the right foot, right, you're gonna have a great result. Or playing golf, you can equate it to a lot of things. You go out there and you duff your first hole. It's better if you hit a nice drive, but it's how you start the process. Once you start the process the right way, everything else goes smoother. So if you have this already going into your platform, if you already have this going into your workflow, then your life is so much easier because you already know what you have.
Yeah, Tony, you mentioned it's like having a quality assurance measure in place, but it's also like having a compliance manager over your shoulder too.
Exactly.
Because certain issues, I know, my previous experience in managing a cat, we bled a lot of money where our IAs were affording coverage where it didn't exist. And, this is an opportunity to kind of quell some of that bleeding, issues like, letting them know there is no ordinance and law on this policy, things of that nature, to just kind of nip it in the bud before it gets out of hand.
All right. So I believe that this episode's going to go live on August 26th or so. So given that, so I'm just curious, are there any new features that you're excited about that are coming online that you can already talk about, taking into account that this will come out late August?
Yes. Let me start with that one. You can jump in afterwards, but we're working with a provider right now that does technology for measuring. So we've already gone through a couple renditions of this measuring tool that we can integrate within the Ion app. So instead of taking out the tape, the laser, or anything of the sort, you would be able to utilize your handheld mobile device to be able to scan the room with your phone quickly, and it gives you a layout of the room. So we're working on that. I've been in the field. I've been working with I worked with two companies actually, testing out how it works with Ion. Ion's you can use it on residential properties, and what they put me on to test this measuring stuff was a condo with 8 units. So we're able to it was 3 days of inspection, but it was all done within Ion. So 1 day at a time with multiple units. It came out really well, and everything was kept within the confines of that particular unit, right? We have 8 different units. 202 has all this stuff going on. If I got to go back, I can just put it in there. So we're always looking for betterments. Right now, Tony, though, it's July. We're really about, maintaining operational stability with what we have on, intake right now, and make sure our programmers are focusing on retrieving that data and making sure that everything's clean and working the way it should be, making sure that our adjusters are trained and utilizing the application to the best of their ability, and to make sure we're there to support them.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time today. This has been super interesting. Look forward to see you guys continue to grow. And always welcome to come back later on as things develop. When this goes live, I will tag you both and the company on LinkedIn. And I don't know what else I was going to say. And good luck with the rest of what is looking like a very, very, very active hurricane season.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
definitely.
that. Thank you. Thank you for
Tony,
having
thanks.
us. Really appreciate it. Thank
My
you. Let's
pleasure.
get the word out. We talk a lot, I know, but we're excited about it, right? That's the thing. We're passionate about these things. So Ion's one of our babies. So we feed it good stuff, right? We teach it good stuff. We bring it in front of good people. So we try to make it the best it can, and we're trying to bring that to others. Here, Ion is something that could be a benefit to you of your change management plan, and we can help get you there because of our experience and our backing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.